Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Today we are tackling the kettlebell swing. Now this is a fantastic exercise and it's one that everyone should be able to do if you have a kettlebell. However, if you saw my video previously about choosing the right weight for the kettlebell, you'd also know that you can injure yourself if you're not doing it correctly, if you pick the wrong weight. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to dive in, we're going to talk about regressing the exercise and some drills you can do before you even pick up the kettlebell to make sure that you're in the correct position for when you actually do start to pick up the kettlebell and do the actual swing itself. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Please give me a like if you get some value from this video, and also consider subscribing for future videos that are going to be coming out in the kettlebell series especially. To start with, the kettlebell swing is a hip hinge. What that means is you hinge at the waist, at the hip, you bend forward and you keep a straight back and you load your glutes and your hamstrings at the back. It's a fantastic posterior chain exercise. Okay, so it gets all of your backside of your body, so it gets your back muscles involved, it gets your glutes involved, your bum muscles, it also gets your hamstrings involved. So it's a really good posterior chain exercise. So to that end, you want to bend at the waist, you want to load your glutes and your hamstrings, and then you thrust forward and propel the kettlebell upwards. So to ensure that you know that you're doing the correct movement, so that you are bending at the hips, we've got a couple of drills. So the first one that you can do is you need a broomstick for this. I've got my trusty stick here that you can see here, and what you do is you put it on your back and you line it up, you put your head against the stick and line your back up against it, and you practice bending forwards, but you don't want to any part of your back or your head to come out of contact with that stick. So in effect you're going to keep contact with it. If you start bending your head without taking contact off that, then you're in the wrong position. So bend forward, keep full contact with the stick. That ensures that you are in the correct position. Okay, so next thing we can do is you can go up against a wall and you can stand about half a foot away, 6 to 8 inches away from the wall, and what you need to do is you need to bend forward at the hip, but you're trying to focus on touching your bum against the wall. Okay, so you're going to keep your feet planted where they are, you're going to bend forward at the waist, push your hips back and try and touch your bum against the wall, and that will do that a few times, groove in that movement, that movement pattern. Okay, so once we've done that, we can then actually pick up the kettlebell. Before you start doing the actual swing, then we've got the regressed version. Now this was named by Dan John, who's a legendary strength coach over in America, and a few people were stealing his ideas, and he's coming up with all of these ideas and making them their own. So what he did is he gave them some really kind of funky names, so that if someone was ever to use that, they'd know that it's Dan John. So the name of this funky move is called the Bulgarian goat bag swing. Don't know why, but he just made that up. So the Bulgarian goat bag swing, what this does, it grooves in the pattern without you're not actually swinging, so you haven't got that ballistic movement pulling you out of position to start with. So what you need to do is you need to grab the kettlebell by the horns, put it into your waist area, and then you're going to push that kettlebell into your stomach, and then you're going to do that movement that we did. Okay, and then you're going to thrust back forward. Okay, so the movement that we've already done, the hip hinge, so you're going to do a set of 10 of those. Okay, now once you've done a set of 10 of those, you should be grooving in that pattern for the actual swing itself. Now once we've got that movement dialed in, and you kind of know you've got that movement pattern dialed in, it might be that you need to go back and do your drill with the stick just to make sure that you've got that pattern fixed in. We can then move on to the actual kettlebell swing itself. So we'll put the kettlebell standing shoulder width apart, maybe slightly wider than shoulder width apart, because the kettlebell is going to go through your legs. You're going to hike the kettlebell backwards through your legs, bending, doing the hip hinge as we already mentioned, and you're going to thrust your hips forward, and you're going to propel the kettlebell up. Now it needs to be no higher than head height, sort of eye line height. If it goes lower than that, that's fine. Now if you're swinging a kettlebell up really high, then it might mean that you need a heavier kettlebell, because you're just getting too much movement in there. Now I've been doing this with a 20. I've recommended starting with a 12 or a 16 if you've got a bit of experience. So you're hiking that up, then it comes down back between the legs. You bend as much as you can to load your glutes and your hamstrings. You load those up, and then you thrust forward, and you just continue. Okay, so how are you going to fit these into your workout? Well, there's a number of different things you can do. You can put them in as a posterior chain kind of warm up, if you like. If you're doing something like the deadlift, you could do 10 swings to start with, just to warm your posterior chain up. Now you could do it an exercise as a pull exercise in its own right and do 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 12. Or you could tag it on as a metabolic conditioning exercise towards the end, because it is quite a dynamic exercise. So you could do, say, 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest, and you could combine that maybe with a goblet squat. So you're doing 30 seconds of swings, then rest for 30 seconds, 30 seconds of squats, then rest for 30 seconds. Then you can do that in a metabolic conditioning. But there's lots of different ways you can incorporate it in. That's just a few ideas. Okay folks, so that's it then, the kettlebell swing. It is a great exercise. Get practicing with it. Let me know in the comments if you've had a go, and if you've got any questions as well, please hit me up on daveshieldsfitness.com, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you have. So watch out for more in the kettlebell series that's coming up. And again, thanks for watching guys. Look after yourselves, take care, and I'll see you next time.